the older women are being advised, teach the young women to be self-controlled and to be also pure. Another instruction, to be busy at doing what? To be busy at home. Doing what? This is a good instruction, isn't it? See, women are doing a good job, isn't it? Yeah, wanaambiwa that teach the young women to be loving to their husbands and also to their children. Now, they're also told to instruct the younger women to be busy at home, okay? To be kind. To be kind to who? To be kind to who? To their? Okay. Thank you, MCA. To be kind to their husband, isn't it? And who else? The children. And also the society at large, isn't it? Yeah, the younger women, you need to be kind and also loving. That is a responsibility. Be kind and loving to your husbands, to your children, isn't it? And also to the society at large. And to be subject to who? To their husbands, isn't it? To be submissive. There are other versions that are talking about being submissive. The young women need to be submissive. They need to be subject to their husbands. Now look at that. I love the last part. So that no one will malign the word of God. Hebu tupatie King James Version. Tuone the last part. That the word of God may not be. Si hapo ni sawa? Yeah. So if this young woman is kind to the husband, to the children, isn't it? She's busy at home and all the other things. We are told that the bottom line is this: then they will not bring shame on the word of God. And this tells us that the older women and the younger women, they need to carry themselves in a way that at the end of it all, they shall not bring shame to the word of God. So that is the third category now, the younger women. Unless there is a contribution on the same. You don't want to add something? Anyone? Anyone? All right, we can proceed. So now let's go to the other category. Now we're in verse 6. And verse 6, now, Titus amepatiwa pia responsibility. And what is being told? He's being told to do what? To encourage the young men to be self-controlled. Titus encouraged the young men to be self-controlled. And besides that, now, ukiangalia verse 7, in verse 1 of chapter 2 and verse 2 and 3 and 4, it is the people, or rather Titus anaambiwa that to instruct the older men, the older women to do this and that. But for the younger men, he is not being told to tell them to do it. He's being told to do it himself, isn't it? We are told here, in everything, set them a what? An example. Set them an example by doing what is good. And that's why in the list that I gave out, among the, I think there were a list of about 7, Titus is also in that category. He's supposed to lead by example. In everything, set them an example by doing what is good. In your teachings, show integrity and seriousness. In your teaching, show integrity and seriousness. Okay? The next one. Now, Titus pia anapewa instructions by Paul anaambiwa that beside leading by example, he also need to have what? Soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, so that those who oppose you may be what? May be ashamed because they have nothing but to say about you or about us. And that's why the Bible tells us that we are the salt of the world. We are the salt of the world. So naambiwa, as much as you are telling men to do this and that, as much as you are telling women to behave this and that, you also need to carry yourself in a way that it will show a good example, not only to the young men, but also to those who are following you. And interestingly, that those who oppose you may be ashamed because they have nothing but to say about you. In other words, is being taught to live a righteous life. Verse 9. Now, the other category that I forgot to mention are the people who are employed, the slaves. Now, Titus, or Paul, is instructing Titus to also address people operating or working under authority. And these people working under the authority, in this case, they are talking about a slave. There is the relationship between a slave and a master, an employee and an employer, or any other person who is sitting under authority. Now, Titus is giving very clear instructions to the slaves. And this is what he's telling them. We can read. Kindly encourage me by reading with me.
To be subject to their masters.
We teach slaves to be subject to their masters in one thing. In everything. Teach slaves to be subject to their masters in everything. I don't know what the other versions have indicated. Maybe you can give us New King James Version. Exhort both servants to be obedient to their own master. Is that so? Yeah. To be obedient to their own master, to be well pleasing in all things, not answering back. Sioni sawa? And I want us to just make a reference briefly. Let's make a reference to should be the book of Ephesians. Let's make a reference to the book of Ephesians 2, Ephesians, chapter 2, from verse 1. And we basically want to have an understanding on the instructions that Titus is giving to the servants. Briefly. I beg your pardon. It should be Ephesians chapter 6, Ephesians chapter 6, from verse 5. Give us NIV, kindly. Now, we can read this. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear. Proceed. Tusome tena, tunasoma vibaya. Let's repeat kindly. Just you would obey Christ. Verse 6. Obey them not only to win their favor when their eyes is on you, but like slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from your heart. As if you are serving the Lord and not men, because you know